Hello, my name is Ken, and I want to welcome you back to Deep Waters. This podcast is brought to you by Applied Strength Ministry, where we believe working together in our strengths is the effective working out the will and calling of God in our lives. The title of this message is Church Purpose. This is Series 2, Episode 25 of 28. So if you haven't figured it out yet, the gifts are actually weapons for your spiritual warring against all manner of spiritual hosts. 2 Corinthians 10, 3-5. Ephesians 6, 10 through 18, and Revelation 13, 7. But so now we go on with this message. So now we see why God will judge us for our love works, and not for our supernatural abilities and accomplishments. Or at least we see the priority of love over works, and if not done in love, so that we get to know God, we be in trouble. I believe even Judas operated in the supernatural power of God. In fact, he was sent with the others to do so. Let's be a looky-loo. Luke 9:1. Then he called his 12 disciples together and gave them power and authority over all demons and to cure diseases. I know, right? Baffling, but again, this shows us what God's true intentions are when it comes to our lives and spiritual walk with one another. It's all about relationships with Him and with others in love, with the sole purpose to get to know Him and to obey Him. 2 Thessalonians 1:8. And loving others is a command to be obeyed, not an option to be considered. Matthew 22, 36-40. Back to 1 Corinthians 13. But you should know that if it wasn't difficult enough, we are about to take a trip down Mulholland Drive on a motorcycle doing what motorcycles do, and that is to raise your blood pressure with an exhilarating burst of adrenaline. Verse 4. Love suffers long and is kind. What? Yes, he is defining what the activity of love is. No worries, he is our help. Love does not envy. You know, I like to deal sometimes with the grain of sand. DCOM defines envy as a feeling of discontent or covetousness with regard to another's advantages, success, possessions, etc. An object of such feeling. Her intelligence made her the envy of her classmates. When we compare ourselves and our spiritual and natural performances with each other, we get in serious trouble. Everyone has at least one natural God-given talent, and everyone can operate in the supernatural, including the devil's kids. Read Joel 2, 1, 11, and see how we should run our race. Love does not parade itself, is not puffed up. I see this as simply saying to not put yourself at front and center of anything that brings you too much attention. We see this happen all the time in sporting events, where a receiver may catch a ball and score a touchdown. And because they did what they get well paid to do, as part of their normal and very expected responsibilities, they somehow feel the need to act as if they just cured cancer. Sorry, this is the best illustration I could come up with, but I see it as a clear representative example. Imagine if a fireman, a doctor or police officer, or Mother Teresa, or any of our boys and girls serving in the armed forces behaved the same way when they did their chosen profession. Yes, just shot a bad guy? High five and a twisty dance in front of the cameras. No, I'm not picking on those guys, but I'm pointing out that their exhibitions become the normal behavior, and our kids will grow up thinking that a trophy should be given for every task they perform. Oh, we like to be the center of attention as humans. Verse 5, does not behave rudely. Somehow I think this one comes up with his own set of excuses as to why behaving rudely is okay in certain circumstances. And yes, this is another DCOM moment. Discourteous or impolite, especially in a deliberate way. A rude reply. Without culture, learning, or refinement. Rude, illiterate peasants. Rough in manner or behavior. Unmannerly, uncouth, rough, harsh, or ungentle. Rude hands. Roughly wrought, built or formed, of a crude construction or kind. A rude cottage. Not properly or fully developed. Raw, unevolved. There is the I have to be rude clause. Deliberate. The qualifying reasons for being rude are many, and sometimes come at us like a shotgun blast. This is a test and or warfare because so much is actually at stake when we behave rudely. Recovery is difficult. Proverbs 18:19. Let's go back to the beach. Does not seek its own. Don't we have a right to our own stuff? Yes and no. You can hold on to your stuff with one hand, as long as you're prepared to give it up with the other, when the opportunity to do so shows up. In the strangest of thoughts, If you die with nothing remaining on earth, in kingdom sense you win. Matthew 6:19-21. Is not provoked. Decom help. To anger, enrage, exasperate, or vex. To stir up, arouse, or call forth feelings, desires, or activity. The mishap provoked a heartily laugh. To incite or stimulate a person, animal, to action. To give rise to, induce, or bring about. What could have provoked such an incident? Obsolete, to summon. This means that your response to the war or battle is not to allow someone or something to make you angry. What? There's so much that makes me angry, you might say. Yes, but love is a shield, and should be used to deflect the devil-sent provokedness hand grenade. Thinks no evil. What, I just had an evil thought about my boss, my wife, husband, kids, pastor, that guy who sleeps in the atrium at my office, or the waitress who spilled red wine on your Prada Gurgentolis. Now, when Jesus was telling his followers about drinking his blood and eating his flesh, John 6:54, many left because it was a hard saying for them. And when the rich young ruler was told to have a garage sale and give the money to the poor, he left, believing it was an impossible request. And his own disciples asked if anyone could be saved at such a request. And they didn't even have much in the way of resources. Matthew 19:16-25. So we look at Romans 12:14 for a minute. Bless those who persecute you, and bless and do not curse. Now, if you think I'm spending way too much time on this one element, then you are probably right. But so what I'm really doing is taking a station break, because it isn't just this one element. Evil thoughts that can cause us to think who then can be saved. If these love definitions represented a journey, climbing up Mount Everest in January seems more possible. But maybe I'm not the only one who sees this. I come by that this message is for me as well as others. But of course the teacher learns while he teaches. Verse 6, does not rejoice in iniquity. Now I know we need decom. Gross injustice or wickedness. A violation of right or duty. Wicked act. Sin. Strange that a secular application would accurately define one of the elements of this behavior as sin. Celebrating injustice or wickedness. Violating someone's right. Performing wicked acts. We should not excuse ourselves in taking the opportunity to perform some deep introspection regarding this. Just pay attention to what you celebrate, whether on TV, social media, watching the world's dumbest criminals, or Jerry Springer. Surely we can find something to place under the sin-crushing blood of Jesus. Oh, but now we get the answer to the question. Then what are we supposed to do? But rejoice in the truth, bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Surely you see the return of the alls first spotted flying north in 1 Corinthians 13:2. Only this time when we obey these alls, we have no time to dream about the other alls, as they may come in if we practice righteousness and work to manifest this very description of love. Verse 8, love never fails. Enough said. But where there are prophecies, they will fail. Whether there are tongues, they will cease. Whether there is knowledge, it will vanish away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. Well, I hope you feel loved and understand that even love is a weapon that is most effective when used as God has intended it to be used. This is why love and hate are at war with one another. But of course we know that love has already won the war. 1 John 4:7 and 16. Remember, it's not what you find wrong or disagree with regarding these messages, but what you can take away from it. Together we can do more to impact the kingdom than if we work alone. Let's flip the script and kill, steal, and destroy the works of the enemy, and create space for the light of lights to shine through into people's lives. Plant a seed and click on the like and subscribe button. Let's build this ministry together. Thanks, and see you next time in Deep Waters.